Hi, this is Zach Mayer with the Bulletin Board Heroes here at Zach's Traders Cafe for Wednesday, the 28th of August. Starting off with the FTSE 100, which did nudge through the 8400 level just yesterday. Come back a bit, but at least while we're above the 8260 area, which is hopefully the floor of the latest flag, we could actually still have a push to the upside. We obviously had a go yesterday. If you're cautious, an end of day close above 83.75 is what we're looking for. To give us not only a move up to 84.30, which is the top of that red triangle there from the end of May, but also then the dizzy heights, or potentially the dizzy heights, over the top of that rising trend channel from back in September last year, 86.30. On the downside, hoping that we don't get anything lower than that rising 50-day line at around 82.20. RSI at 58, so just in the right place for further gains if we can get them. Moving on to the DAX, and here closing a volatile month, but doing that in a good way. We had a resistance line break there from back in May. That was 18,600. Above that, looking for the top of the rising trend channel from October last year, as high as the 20,000 level by the end of next month. Sounds a bit optimistic, but that's what we're looking at. Ideally, we stay above the 50-day line there at 18,200, whatever happens. Onto the Dow, and every day is a winning day at the moment. Here, and we broke that line of resistance there from July, 41,000 above that, and we've got a bit of wiggle room there heading for the top of that rising trend channel from back basically this time last year, 42,600. Presumably the hopes of a sharp fall in interest rates over the autumn ahead of the presidential election will focus minds on that situation. Once again, the downside hopefully limited, in this case, the top of that gap that we had, 40,300, hopefully the limit there. Moving on to Bitcoin, and here it's rather disappointing. Failed basically just above the 200-day moving average at 62,000. Not really a place where it should have failed, but maybe there was the old support there and it's found resistance there, but bit of a rug pull, and on the wrong side of 60,000 as well. Initial support here at 56,000, and we can't rule out now a move down to that support line projection from the end of February at 51,500, which would obviously be rather painful. But the RSI failed in the 50s, which is normally a bad look as well. The only saving grace at the moment is the way that the 50 and 200-day lines are both rising, so the next time they cross, unless the market really falls out of bed, it would be a golden cross. So rather strange that that's happened there for the Bitcoin situation. Moving on to gold, and here really going up as fast as it could, taking up a bit of slack near the top, but the old initial August resistance 25.24, and above that looking for the top of the rising trend channel from back in December as high as 26.40 by the end of next month, or hopefully a bit sooner. A bit of bearish divergence there, so there is the risk of a test down towards the low 2500s, even if we then manage to regroup and head higher. Moving on to the stocks, and starting off with a stock which was slightly disappointing in the sense that in June we were thinking that this market would head towards the resistance line there from last summer, around 70 pence, but we didn't quite make it. I think the high there around 62, but that was not that shabby. The current focus here is that we've got an uptrend line there from October. That line's at 48 pence. There is resistance at the 50-day line, and that June resistance line there at 52 pence. So if you're cautious and waiting for the next leg up, it may be that a break of 52 pence on an end-of-day close basis is the place to look at. Otherwise, if we do head lower, there may be a test of the 200-day moving average, currently at 44 pence. So the stock's not quite out of the woods just yet. On to Avacta, which is obviously loved and adored by many. Here we've been toying with the 200-day moving average for 2 or 3 days now, 2 or 3 sessions at least. That's at 78 pence, and 77 pence rather, and basically need an end-of-day close above that to give us a retest of the July peak up there at 85, 86 pence, which was obviously rather welcome. We want to stay above the recent support area at 74 pence, because that would then still give us a window to head up to old support for this market, just shy of 90 pence. Worst case, I suppose, is that we need another test of the 50-day line at 65 pence before we then head higher. On to a requested stock, and here we've got our exploration, which has been going from strength to strength as the market finally appreciates its many merits. Here we hit our initial target there around 30 pence, and the longer we stay above that, the greater the chance of the upper parallel of that rising trend channel from April last year as high as 40 pence, and we're looking for that by the end of next month or even sooner. You can see also that we've had a bounce off the neutral 50 level, neutral 50 RSI level, so that is also giving this stock a good look, as is the way that we've been above the 50-day line since the middle of June. Bear trap gap reversal started the rally, and that signal has worked very well, as have the unfilled gaps to the upside that we had last month. Moving along to another stock which seems to be back in business after a long time, which out of business. Here we got Firering. Looking forward to, I think, to production in Q4 for this stock. We need to stay above the 50-day line there at 3.1 pence. If we do that, then we could still go up towards the 4.4 pence level, which is the top of that triangle from March. There is the barrier of the 200-day moving average at 3 3/4 pence, and maybe that is intimidating the price action at the moment. We haven't been back above the 200-day line properly since back in April last year, but still looking a bit better or much better than it has for quite some time. Moving on to the Aquis market, which I cover, I think, almost exclusively on this these types of stocks. We did say that, or I did say that Good Life was looking better. We've hit our initial target there twice at 2.3 pence. Above that, we had the prospect of moving up to 3.4 pence, the upper parallel of that February resistance line, and looking for that hopefully within days. After that, we can maybe upgrade the price target for the shares, but it's good to see a company on Aquis improving like that. On to GreenRoc, which has been one of the highlights of the week so far. Here, the shares spiked up at the second time of asking. We covered it here in the middle of the month, and we are up on the 1.3 pence call that was there before. Above the 50-day line where we bounced today, looking for not only the 200-day moving average at 2p, but ultimately 2.8 pence by the end of next month. Again, another stock that the market seems to be appreciating now rather more than it has for quite some time. Global Petroleum is next, and here nice action, nice price action at least. We've got the 50 and 200-day lines both rising. That means we're going to a golden cross hopefully sometime in September, which will give the shares another chance at testing the upper teens, so 0.16 plus, ultimately looking for as high as 0.21 by the end of next month if we're really lucky, and stay above recent resistance of 0.09. So I think that's the line in the sand for the bulls at the moment. Moving on to Georgina, which has obviously been had one or two kicks and punches since it came to market, but looking a little bit better. We're at a bit of bullish divergence there. The lower low there for yesterday, but higher RSI trace, so that may be just the start of an improvement there. We need to stay above 10.6 pence, which was the previous low there. And then hopefully we can get back to 13 pence, etc. Well, 13 or 14 pence over the course of early September. But the key here, staying above 10.6 pence. Moving along to Helium 1, where I was accused of pumping the shares, even though I've got absolutely no interest in the company at all. And obviously nobody told me that there was going to be a placing. But speaking of placings, the shares remaining well above the placing price there. 50-day moving average at 1 1/4 pence, and while we're above that, we're still within that rising trend channel from June, and could at least fill the gap up to 1 3/4 pence over the near term, maybe the next couple of weeks. If you're cautious, you wait for an end-of-day close above the 200-day moving average at 1.45 pence, and obviously what we don't want to see is an end-of-day close back below the 50-day moving average, because that would suggest another test of the 1 pence area. RSI on the wrong side of 50, so maybe that is a sign that we might have to have a bit more testing and chewing up of the latest raise before we head higher. Stock which was also slightly disappointing in the recent past has been Mosman. We do have this wide rising trend channel from October, but the shares bouncing basically for the third time around the 0.04 pence level. What is missing here is an end-of-day close back above the 50-day line, 0.055, and ideally we're only back in business in a big way if we can break that resistance line there from last month at 0.06. But at least that rising trend channel pattern still there, and the shares are looking bullish while they're above 0.04. On to Shuka, and here you can see the shares trying to get back above the floor of the gap down there at 6 pence. We want to see an end of day close above 6 pence to give us the chance of filling the gap up to 8 pence early next month. Otherwise, it's maybe another test of the 4.5 to 5 pence zone for that stock. I think there's a bit of director buying there at Uplands. Here the message has been that anything under a penny looks like the buying zone. We've got bullish divergence and also trying to map out a W-shaped turnaround for the shares. There is neckline resistance there at 1.35 pence, and we need to clear that to then give us a chance of 1.75 pence or up towards the 2 pence area where the 50-day line currently resides. That's it from me today. More updates tomorrow.